The goal of the Secret Society was to change the currency. The currency is the experience. So instead of paying you money, we pay you with an experience. So in this year prior, I didn't drink much, but it tested me and I said like, there is a brighter version of myself that is waiting. And I had a glimpse at it. And I was like, I like this guy more than the guy that drinks.
I think at one point you just need to realize that happiness is a choice. You can choose to be happy. Welcome to the CEO DNA, the podcast where we explore what drives visionary leaders. Today's guest is Romain Fourel, founder and CEO of The Secret Society, a lifestyle app that redefines how brands, venues and influencers connect across Dubai, London, Bali, Saudi and beyond. What began as a bold idea to bring authenticity into influencer marketing has grown into a global community with over 200,000 members. Romain's story is about breaking conventions, from his early career in fashion and F&B to modeling, where influence isn't just about reach, but about real experience. Romain, great to have you here. How are you today?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
So you're CEO yourself. What is a good DNA of a CEO? What are good characteristics of a CEO in your understanding?
It's a good question. Actually, I never liked the word CEO, funny enough, and I know it's the name of your podcast.
Yeah.
But I kind of like have a feeling that we actually only grow as a CEO very late in the life of a company, because I have the feeling at the beginning we call ourselves founders, CEOs, but we do everything. Literally, you do everything from finance, you're the sales, you're the marketing person behind. So you play so many different roles in early career when you launch a tool, that I only have the feeling that actually you grow as a CEO. I have the feeling that I'm a CEO only since a year, if that makes sense. And the company has been running for 8 years, because I have the feeling that now I have the luxury of being strategical and being less, having less my hands inside of the day-to-day operation that the company has.
Understood. How do you manage it? So today you say you're more the CEO in regards to work more also on your business, not so much in your business. Is that true? Because you said at the early stages it's a bit more in the business, the hustle, but now it's sometimes also the strategic workshops where you look at the big picture. Yeah,
I have the luxury of looking at the big picture now, which I didn't have even like 3 years ago. Because when you are because Secret Society is a self-funded company, right? So I was using my own money. So therefore, like one person in the company was doing 3 jobs and I was doing a little bit of all of them. And so I have the feeling that that's a challenge when you're actually building an app, mainly because we're in the app business, in the tech business. I was in the obligation of doing a little bit of everything, and I was not having a lot of time to be strategical, in my opinion. Right. So I very much have the feeling that I'm a CEO since not long ago, because now we have 83 employees, so I'm not involved in the day-to-day operation and the management of the clients as I used to be, which I used to love as well. And it gives me a lot of time to actually be more strategical, understanding where we go, what we do, and work on the business.
So tell us a little bit about the Secret Society. How would you introduce your offering to the
Secret Society and the rest of the company that we are trying to build is built around disrupting a segment. So, which is a challenge, because obviously we live in a time where everyone copy, or you open a restaurant and there is already millions of restaurants in the world. My vision of entrepreneurship was, I want to create something that doesn't exist, which is tough. It's very difficult nowadays because everyone has somehow experienced something from the get-go. Secret Society was having the objective of disrupting marketing of his own. We believe that the oldest marketing in the world, which is word of mouth, was kind of like getting lost in the new era of marketing, where basically brands were relying on SEO, on sponsorized campaign, so basically on computers to speak to people. We wanted to bring that back and basically have build the largest army, if I can say that this way, a largest army of community messenger. So it's actually a word that we invented. You have people that have built a community on social media and they are, spreading message to this community. We're having an objective of building the largest community of community messengers that will basically be working with our clients on a barter basis exclusively. So
the barter basic, I think that is very essential in the idea. For example, you go in Dubai or somewhere to a beach club and you get access to the beach club with a nice table or whatsoever. And in return, you do some posts.
Yeah, so actually, why is it so important? Is the fact that in marketing and pretty much like obviously in influence marketing, the financial component where basically brands are paying people to do certain things is very much there. Similarly in the modeling world, because we actually solve a problem in the modeling world, you want to work with a model and that wants to embody your brands, you pay this model. So you purchase their image rights, if that makes sense.
Yes.
The goal of the Secret Society was to change the currency. The currency is the experience. So instead of paying you money, we pay you with an experience. So it's experimental marketing, as we call it. So you said it very well. We send you in a beach club. You get a complimentary experience in this beach club. And in exchange of that, you will need to follow a long list of deliverables from posting stories on your social media to leaving a review on TripAdvisor, all the way to participating in the photo shoot as a model. So that means you don't need to call a modeling agency anymore. You can say, I love you, Michael. You look fantastic and you will be great for new brands. I'm going to give you a free room in our hotel or for you and your wife, but I will need 3 hours of your time to shoot you while you are working in the hotel. So it's a tool that allows clients to accelerate themselves as much as they wish because there is no financial component to it.
Right. Yeah, interesting. So yourself, you are from France. Yeah. You studied marketing entrepreneurship. So you knew quite early, I want to be like this entrepreneur. However, you then also worked, as mentioned now, in modeling, F&B, but also as a general manager of Abercrombie and Fitch.
Yeah. Yes.
And then you said, I want to start the business. Why was this the case? Because I think you had a quite secure environment. Is that true?
Yeah, I was having a fantastic environment. The company that I was evolving in, which was Abercrombie & Fitch, was giving me a full trust. We opened close to like 7 stores in the Middle East.
Right. And you were the general manager, so you already had a managing role. Yeah.
And it was, honestly, Abercrombie & Fitch for me was a fantastic experience because Abercrombie & Fitch as a mantra recruits mainly young individuals. So because it's a young brand, so it's a brand that they take their pride of saying that it's a forever summer brand. So you have like these very young people running like actually a multi-million US dollar ventures in Dubai and in the rest of the world. It was a fantastic school for me because I learned a lot of things in finance, in management, in HR in the region. But the thing is, I always been a person that is passionate about building something. I wanted to build something and I wanted to see people using it. Obviously something useful that was adding value because at the end of the day, entrepreneurship, what it is, it's like building something that add values to, in our case, 2 types of individuals. On one side, our clients, and on one side, our members. And if I was able to bring value, I was happy. Actually, most of the people in my family has been failing as entrepreneur. So when I say to my parents I wanted to be an entrepreneur, because in France being an entrepreneur is a very, very, very dangerous role to be because you're not pretty much getting helped.
Right.
There is a lot of taxes. So in France, a lot of people inspired to become employees more than actually becoming entrepreneur. So when I started my entrepreneurship journey, I was not seeking financial gain, but I was very much looking for adding value to people, guests and clients in this case.
Before we go deeper, a quick note. 48% of watching haven't subscribed yet to the CEO DNA podcast. If this show brings you real conversations with real leaders and visionaries, then joining the CEO DNA community helps us to bring even more powerful minds on this show. We don't run ad, we don't chase noise. We build conversations that change how founders and visionaries and people think. So if you want more of that, then please take a second, subscribe, and let's build this movement together. How was then the moment? Normally it's out of pain or out of, something you really deep desire to do. What was the moment you said, I quit now my managing director job, and I will go all in? I take my money even with me and
of course.
And put it down.
And on top of losing my security, I'm investing all my security, which is my savings. Because what I did basically, I got the idea of the secret society 4 years before resigning. And during these 4 years, I worked in Abercrombie, but I was piling up other jobs on top of that. Modeling was one of them, and I was starting working with restaurants. So I was trying to understand what my future clients are experiencing, what do they need. And so at some point, I was actually having like 2 different jobs, plus the development of the secret society that was obviously going step by step, like building the business plan, etc., all the things that you need to do, with the objective of reaching a certain amount of money that will help me to put in the money and basically start the business.
But why?
The why is a very important point.
Why did you say I all give the security away? Because we do have a lot of listeners today who also have this, this idea in it, but an idea is I would say almost a little worth of the entire business. At one point you have to say, I'm doing it, I'm going all
100%.
in. And I think it's a good hint to tell to all the listeners it's worthwhile to proceed next to your job. But yeah.
Honestly speaking, everything started in the point like I loved certain element of retail because I was working in retail, of course, but I knew that I was not passionate about what I was doing. And I always been someone that wanted to live my life with intent. I'm sure we'll talk about that a bit later, but I wanted to do something meaningful potentially to the world. It's a bit egocentric, but meaningful to myself. And for me, work is a huge part of my personality. I enjoy my free time if I know that I've been working very hard,
right.
If I've been like ticking up all the boxes that I want to do. And for me, like doing something that I absolutely love was something extremely important. So before starting any kind of companies, I actually tried to do something that I love. I always been passionate about the app business,
right.
Because I was actually terrified of high capex businesses when I see people opening restaurants and pouring a lot of money into things without knowing that it was working. And when the app world blossomed, which was not so long ago, if you think about it, the iPhone is actually, we are the iPhone 17. iPhone, per definition, introduced the app, world. And for the first like 4 or 5 years, only Apple was developing apps, no one else. You know what I mean? So the app world is like 10 to 14 years old. It's not old.
True. No, absolutely. When did you start the company officially then?
So officially, we started doing business and invoicing people 8 years ago.
So 8 years ago. So let's say you could go back to those 8 years from today, and with all the experience, what would you tell yourself at this point?
It's a very good question. I will say to myself, do not be scared of failing. 100% because
I mean, now you have over 200,000 members, you have almost 100 employees, you are in different countries. But what would you tell yourself there? So be not afraid about failure.
Failure. I think I was petrified about failures overall because to be too perfect? To be too perfect because obviously I was having no safety nets. So I was, in my mind, I'm someone that is very, I'm trying and I'm learning ways of reducing my overthinking threats. But in my mind, I'm like, I have a tendency when I'm in a moment, I'm thinking of all the potential scenarios that could go wrong.
Right.
And I realized that I was putting so much time and effort mentally to think about that. And I was like, and what if the client doesn't want it? And what if tomorrow I'm losing all my members? And what if? The what if was absolutely killing me. I've always been a risk taker, but I sometimes had the feeling that I was a prisoner in my own mind.
All right.
of the
of
fear of
questioning
failing.
certain things. Understood. Why do you think you had success? The most businesses, 95% because based on whatever study you can see, are failing in the first 5 years.
Yeah.
Why did you have success?
I think, it was the best way of looking at it is a lot of people are jumping into entrepreneurship for the wrong reason, in my opinion.
Right.
Entrepreneurship,
Money, or what do you think is wrong?
money, success,
Right.
overnight success.
Right.
I think social media is terrible for that as well, because
True.
now the 9 to 5, as they call it, is antagonized. So
Yeah.
having a job that is a 9 to 5, you're a loser. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you should have your financial freedom. You should be your own boss.
Not in France, as I learned, right?
No,
in
no,
France it's still cool.
No, but it's coming
Maybe
because
in
obviously you
other
have all
countries,
these people that are living this life. They're portraying a life that is absolutely not true. I have more bosses that I have now. I have more responsibility than when I was. For me, all my clients are my bosses.
Yeah. So you had less problems 8 years ago when you started the company as you have now.
Of course, but the main thing is, like, I think when you jump into entrepreneurship, you cannot be sane. It's a work of an insane individuals, because everything plays against you. You pour money in something that you don't know if it's going to work. You're building a business plan. The first business plan, and I'm sure you had these things, Michael. You build a business plan where everything is perfect. You have a growth years on years. When I look sometimes at the business plans that I was doing 8 years ago, even when I say 3 years ago, they were extremely optimistic. There was no what if, there was no loss of clients. The churn rate was not taken in consideration anyway. So you plan all of these things, and you launch the business, and the adventure starts. And basically, you don't know if people are going to accept your business. There is only 0.2% of the app on the Apple store right now that are breaking even. So actually, if you think about it, and that takes in consideration Gmail, all the apps that everyone is using. So the amount of apps that are actually breaking even, I'm not even speaking about making tons of profit, is like, it's a chance in the sea. You know what I mean?
No, so true. I threw in one point. I just wanted to highlight again. You said, look, we had a lot of less problems or challenges when I started it 8 years ago than now. I think that's also very important for everyone listening. And it doesn't matter where they are in their entrepreneurial journey. It's just to understand, also from my learning, I think now in our core business, like also way over 100 people, 140 in 16 countries, to understand that the complexity, that's why I mentioned
scaling.
The scale and what scaling brings to the table is of course again a different game, and that's important to understand. I think to enjoy also the current moment, because you think, oh, when I wouldn't have this issue and when I would have this and this, then you have different challenges. I believe you personally started is fully bootstrapped. Also we did the same, but at one point you had investors, or you said I want to have investors in.
At some point you reach a point where it's needed.
Why was this the case? Were you profitable before or not?
We were profitable before, yeah. So it was.
So you could also grow out of with your profit.
Yeah, obviously. So for me, it has always been very important. Obviously, in the industry where we operate, which is the app world, it's a cash burning business normally. So if you look at Uber is profitable since 2-3 years. And it's a company that exists since 20 years now. So you look at Talabat, Deliveroo, they're all the same, because the currency of these apps is the numbers of users. And so we need more users, we need more market shares, and they're ready to spend money, burn money in order to get there.
What was your best hint or experience to gain users?
Funny enough, I didn't do any marketing to do it. So
Yes.
We built the Secret Society on one element, which is not everyone is getting accepted on the Secret Society.
Okay.
So the element of exclusivity.
From the influencer creator side, okay.
We're actually refusing 80% of the people that register. And that has been triggering the human behavior to be like, I want to be in. It's the same thing of a lot of like the arts
Nightclubs.
club, the nightclubs that you can see all over the world.
Abercrombie and Fitch, I think, had it as well for a time,
Very
right?
much.
But you had a line to go into the shop,
course.
and then the shop you go inside was fully empty.
Abercrombie has been very, very good at building that. It was the clothing for the cool kids. It was the clothing not for everyone, you know what I mean? So everyone wanted to be part of it. So it was a genius marketing move. Obviously, it ended up backfiring at them down the line.
Because the CEO did a certain quote
Yes.
about my clothes should be only worn by...
Exactly. Which I was not at all...
and that fully backfired. I think that's also important learning for a CEO to understand, to make sure that certain comments and behaviors, of course, have massive impact on the business, because they didn't took it just that one person said it. No, the CEO said it. It's of course and
Mike Jeffrey obviously was a genius at what he was doing when he first started, because he took Abercrombie and Fitch was a hunting and fishing brand that was like, you know, pretty much like what we could consider all money,
Yes.
very in the line of Ralph Lauren, and he took that to make it very popular towards the younger generation.
what was in your eyes, because you also have insights of it, what was the ingredients to make that happen? How can you make such an old traditional brand, also like Jägermeister did? I think it's so amazing, right? Jägermeister.
For sure.
I remember like it was like the most not coolest brand on earth when you go to the drinking corner in Germany. I wasn't drinking at this time, but we would never even wanted to have it. And now it's like, I think, one of the coolest drinks you can have.
Yeah.
What is your insight on that from knowing from Abercrombie and Fitch?
So obviously each business have a different leverage to make their brand cool. For us, it was making our brand exclusive and to have a vision for the company. We were promising something that, so the promise of the Secret Society is to give you a complimentary lifestyle and to give you access to things that normally you need to pay a large amount of money to do, or potentially that money cannot even buy. I'm giving you an example. We have every year in Abu Dhabi, we have around 300 seats at UFC, where actually UFC is fully booked. So somehow the only way to get on with paying with your social media is through us. Mm-hmm. So it's something that even money cannot buy at this point. And so this element of exclusivity and the promise that kind of like breaks the code of the world that we are currently operating in has been our success recipe, if I can say, for the Secret Society. If you take Abercrombie, obviously it was the cool element. So they look at how schools operate and they realize that there is, you know, an handful of individuals in a school, at least back then, that were the cool kids, as they were calling them. And they were like the KOLs, the key opinion leaders of the school. Anyone wanted to do what these people were doing. So they were like, we're going to hire all the cool kids and we're going to bring to build the brands around cool kids, that when the kids are coming there, they feel like, I want to belong. I belong there. They were not selling clothes. They were selling emotion.
How can you become a cool kid when it comes to creators? When you look at the creators, because over the 8 years, you had a chance to look at so many different failures, but of course also success stories of creators who maybe grew exponential with their following, with the messaging. What did they do? What did the 20% who had success do different than the 80% who failed?
Funny enough, so now I think the world have changed in a sense where when it comes to social media, you have multiple verticals to it. Me personally, I think if you're putting yourself out there, that is on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, I think what is very, very important is to find your why. So I think that's why your first question was extremely important, because often the why is missing. I went because everyone does, you know. If you do that, you fail. Me personally, I think that if you go on social media to create content that of something that you love, I'm giving you an example. I'm following a guy, it's an English guy, that loves train. I don't care about train. I don't like trains. But I'm passionate about looking at him loving trains. And he loves it. And I think he has been publishing maybe 1,500 videos about training. He travels all over UK to find this old train. And he's so ecstatic every time he sees a train that it makes me want to watch it. But because he loves what he does. And you have that for everything. You know what I mean? You have that people that are doing that for real estate, people, you get me.
For me, for entrepreneurship, for sure. Absolutely.
You're the perfect
Yeah,
example.
true,
You love that. And look at us now, you know what I mean?
True.
And it makes sense and it resonates with a lot of people because people feel that you're genuine and you love it.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. What do you love today about entrepreneurship?
I love the freedom that it gives to my mind, in a sense of I'm someone that gets a lot of ideas while doing sports. For me, running is my brainstorming session. During the day, my day is getting hijacked with the team, and I try to get some time where I can properly brainstorm. But where I got my best ideas is when I run.
So how often take your time? How often do you take actually time for yourself then? That means, we also went to a sauna here actually in Dubai. It's actually called Banya.
Banya Forest.
Yeah,
amazing place.
Very amazing place. And we had actually like a meeting or workshops there also about longevity. So you take sometimes time out also for your body, but how often do you do it for your mind? And what would you be recommended for people who maybe started now in year one and are in this hustle mode and need to see how,
No, you need it's I read I was reading a book, I don't remember in which book it was you need to be selfish with yourself to be good with others. So the thing is, like, if I want to be good, if I want to be a good husband to my wife, if I want to be a good father to my son, if I want to be a good CEO to my company, the person I need to put first is me. Which sounds very, saying it like that, people would be like, this guy is absolutely egocentric.
Yeah.
But actually it's so important because you cannot be good with others if you're not good with yourselves. And so what I realized 4 years ago is, like, the society that we're evolving on has been very good at promoting things that harm what I call self. And, even potentially putting in the center of a reward system. So that means I have a very long day, I deserve a glass of whiskey. Or I'm going to bring my kid because they had good school at good grade at school, and I'm going to bring them to McDonald's. So, it's kind of like a reward system. Or I'm going to eat junk food, it's my rest day, or I deserve it. So we reward ourselves like you will do with a dog, right? But often these reward systems are harming self. They're harming myself. And I realized that 4 years ago, I wanted to remove everything that was harming self. And at first I was like, tobacco, alcohol, but I realized there is a lot of other things that can harm self. The food, the putting myself in a certain amount of stress, toxicity of people around me, etc., etc. So I started becoming way much more conscious about what harms selves. And I introduce over a weekend everything that is good for self. And I started treating myself with the highest respect, in a sense of saying, like, I'm going to give myself the best food. I'm going to give myself, I'm going to go through absolutely horrendous trainings. I think for me, it's very, very important. I'm going to run, I'm going to take time for my mental health. And that literally changed everything. I became a better husband, a better son to my parents, pretty much. That changed entirely my life. And I don't think I will be where I am if that was not happening.
Amazing point. How long did it take you to make this decision to treat you with the highest?
Funny enough, I didn't even understood it. I'm going to be, which is now from where I sit, sounds absolutely crazy. But I was like, I was not understanding the damage that alcohol does over the weekend. Because for me, I was like, I'm not an alcoholic. I never drink a glass at home. You know what I mean? But I was like, I got
but 100 when you were outside.
100 when I was out, you know what I mean? Very German of me. Very French as well. But basically, I was like, I had a very good week. We signed a lot of contracts. I deserve to celebrate with my team. And I was bringing my entire team to a brunch, and we were drinking like 15 glasses, you know what I mean? And I was like, I totally deserve that. That was great. I was not even realizing that it was a bad thing for me, for my team. But harming self was like not managing my sleep correctly. You know, saying to myself, I had such a long day today. My brain is it was so complicated. I deserve to watch an extra episode to this TV show that is on Netflix, and I'm going to go to sleep at midnight instead of going to bed at 10.
Yeah.
This is an arm self element.
I think it's so super important to understand for everyone listening that there are certain habits and keystone habits that can change a lot. And I think the compounding interest of doing certain things who are better for you than others is just mind-blowing. So that also was a big learning for me. And it starts with sleeping, tracking maybe your sleep, or just go to bed before midnight at the beginning, or do not eat or drink certain things before you sleep. And I think there are certain things that, where you can really boost yourself, and the compound interest is just shocking. When we did the longevity training, if I might share this, because I think that was really for both of us mind-blowing, there was one medical professional who told us that there was a study done in Harvard where people over 40 years got analyzed, whoever lives a more healthier and also longer life. So one part of the studies were people who were eating super healthy. They didn't do any sports, but they were eating very healthy, and also actually took care of them in that regard, that they went to bed and so on. And the other one, they were not eating healthy at all. And also they were smoking like crazy, at least some of them like really much. And but they did all one thing in common. They did at least 20 minutes sport per day. And he told us that anyone who did the 20-minute sport outreached the guys who actually did not do any sport and eat healthy. So the unhealthy eaters, including smokers, who did the 20-minute sport, I think that's also part of taking time for yourself when you do some sport, right?
100%. And I think what sports teach you is you need to go through something very, very complicated to have the reward afterwards.
Yeah.
And I think the reward system of a lot of people is broken in a certain sense. And it's not their fault. It's just social media. Now we live on quick dopamine. It's like, I want things right now. Yeah. Dubai is built on quick dopamine. We can take our phone right now and we can order whatever we want, and it will be there in 10 minutes. There is no patience, no waitings. Yeah. Which is, don't get me wrong, it's fantastic, and I'm using that quite a lot. Right. But what I realize in sports, as an example, is like the less I wanted to train, the more disgusting the training is going to be. Like an Irox training at 5 a.m., it's cold or it's smoking hot, and I'm in my bed and it's like 4 a.m. and my son has been crying 3 times last night. I'm on 2 hours sleep. Tough day yesterday. Obviously, I don't want to go. You know what I mean? I don't want to go like never before. Right, yeah. But I'm like, go. It's not even I'm going there. I know that the moment where I'm going to leave the training, the reward system that will come afterwards will be as high as the lowest as where I didn't want to go. Right. And I have the feeling that is how a company works as well. The hustle that you will put will bring you to the highest reward. So I have the feeling that training every single day, like, reframe your brain to think this way. Right. Go through things that you do not want to do. Yeah. Do that. Hustle is not going to come right away. You know what I mean? And potentially you will hustle for a year, but that you are going to get the benefits of it the following year. And it's wire your brain the right way.
100%. I think it's super important to understand that the Chinese wall, that whoever has ever the chance to see it, it's like massive, but it all started with one brick of another brick of another brick. So I think this compounding interest in especially also in companies to do the things when nobody is watching is, I think, essential for the success. 100%. Yeah.
But anyway, the tip of the iceberg is the perfect example. But everything that we do is 99% behind the scenes, in a sense where waking up early in the morning, eating correctly, the work that you put behind the company. A lot of people, and that's the problem of social media. I'm speaking a lot about the problem of social media, but I made an entire business around it, and so I'm part of the ecosystem at full. And don't get me wrong, I have nothing against social media, but it's just that the problem of social media is like highlights only the top moments of a company's life on LinkedIn. We reach X amount I remember, funny enough, there was this Nurse Rats. You know what I mean? The obviously right now he's going through a tough time, but I was watching the Nurse Rats, Soul Babe, and I was watching his rise, and he was opening restaurants and he was like celebrating. I remember he was posting every week, and he was smoking a cigar, and it was like record week ever for the company. Mm-hmm. And I was looking at that, and I was hustling, trying to convince clients. And I was like, it can look demotivating in a certain sense, because I was like, look, he's successful, and me, I'm hustling. Obviously, it was not a jealousy, because we do completely different businesses, but I was like, it felt like overnight success. When actually, when you look at the story of the guy was like washing dishes since like 25 years. And right now we just see the tip of the iceberg. And you have me on the other side looking at that and saying, I'm not doing the right thing, right?
100%. I think it's important to understand that the overnight successes need often 10 years plus. So it's always the hassle you put in at the beginning, and that also motivation for everyone who's just now in the moment. I think that's very important to understand. So at one point you actually took the decision to be the best version of yourself in every of the areas. How long did it took you to really take such a decision? Because you said it was on a weekend.
Yeah, so actually, funny enough, it started because I wanted to run the Marathon of Dubai. The Marathon of Dubai is always in February, more or less every year. And so I was having an entire year. So the entire year prior, that's why I was like, I want to stop drinking, just because for me everything started with drinking alcohol, and I was like, I'm gonna stop drinking alcohol for months, but that was like a year prior, and I felt it was very complicated, because I was with mainly the job that I'm doing. I was always landing. There was an opening of restaurants, there was a birthday of a friend, the birthday of my wife, whatever, And I was like, no, I'm not going to drink. And people were like, you're not drinking? But why? What's going on? And so I felt that not drinking for months was a challenge. And in my mind, I was like, this is not acceptable. So I was like, I'm gonna stop for 3 months. And so I stopped for 3 months until the summer, because I knew summer I was going to see my family in France. Funny enough, the people when I came back to France and I said to my parents, I didn't drink for 3 months, they were annoyed. But you will feel that actually your old parents will be.
Would you do lunchtime in France? You must say you get a glass of wine sometimes.
They are an amazing support system. So I don't want people to think that they are. But in our culture, it's like, let's celebrate a good moment. Like, you're coming back and you're not drinking. Look, I've been buying this fantastic bottle of wine and we are not sharing it together. How rude, But they're amazing people, and I love them. I love them a lot, and they have been a huge support system in what I'm doing right now. But obviously, over the summer, I've been drinking, and when I started drinking again, I was like, in my mind, I was like, oh great, I'm going to drink alcohol again. And when I drank alcohol, I was like, I do not like it anymore. I loved the cloud pink, because when you stop drinking alcohol, there is something called the cloud pink that comes like after 2 months of stopping, and that's the moment where all the benefits like hits you in the face. You start sleeping better. You have mental sharpness. You are within the conversation. You are living in the moment, and everything.
How is it called?
Pink cloud.
Pink cloud. Okay, I'm not drinking since a long time.
But you got the pink cloud back then. But you forgot about it.
Yeah.
And it's a thing, I swear, and the beauty of it is like, if you stop again, you will get the pink cloud again. Every single time. And so it's a thing you feel for a month or two. You feel like a superhuman. Yeah. And obviously when I started drinking again, I was right in the middle of the pink cloud, and I felt absolutely horrendous. So I came back to Dubai and I was like, I'm not drinking. And I didn't drink from September till December. And I drank for the New Year's Eve, because again, back then it was like, there was moment where it was acceptable. Right. I was like, I cannot go to the New Year's Eve without drinking. For me, it was something that I couldn't comprehend. And I was like, I'm not going to drink from then until February. So in this year prior, I didn't drink much, but it tested me, and I said like, there is a brighter version of myself that is waiting. And I had a glimpse at it. And I was like, I like this guy more than the guy that drinks.
And
I realized that when I was drinking, I was sometimes, I was eating bad food. I was more likely to spend money recklessly. I was more likely to fight with my wife for silly things. I was not in the mood. I was tired, etc. So it was like a bad circle, right?
Yes.
And whenever I was not, everything else was like financially things were always all of a sudden getting better, and my relationship with my wife was getting better, and I was feeling over the weekend. All of a sudden, I was having more time. I was arriving on Monday, and I was feeling recharged because it felt that I went on a small vacation where my mind was like at peace, and I was starting the week like the same feeling. You know, when you go for 2 weeks on vacation and you arrive at work and you are full of ideas, full of energy. Yes. I was having a glimpse of that every single week, you know?
Yeah. I think it's important to understand that only yourself are setting your rules for your peak performance, you know? So you can only blame at the end yourself. Yes, the environment will bring you different challenges or opportunities, but at the end, it's you, what you do with it. And I think you can absolutely tell yourself, I'm not drinking. And even when I stopped drinking, everybody said, oh, you're not drinking. Now, if I actually want to have a glass of wine because I wanted to just have a sip of wine with the food, then they say, oh, you're drinking. You know, it's like, it's interesting. So I think you have to set your own framework, and the close people around you who really mean good will also understand it.
I think it's that has been a big part for me of like working on myself and being very selfish for myself. It helped me a lot as well. I have the feeling that I was not asking myself the right questions. I have been someone that I'm very extrovert. I have a lot of friends. I consider a lot of my friends as my brothers. I don't have any brothers and sisters.
Yes.
And I feed out of people quite a lot. But I had a moment where in my mind I was considering myself as my worst enemy, because when I was alone with myself, I was questioning myself. Can you do that? Are you able to do this? And as I told you, constantly like looking at worst case scenarios. And I often realized that I was constantly waiting for something to be happy. And I actually read an article last time, which for me was summing up pretty well what I was feeling. Is I was in constant pursuit of happiness, and I was not finding happiness in the pursuits, and in a sense where I was asking myself, when would you be fulfilled? When would you be happy? It looks like I was in the way of getting there, but I was waiting for something else. But when I was reaching what I wanted, it was like kind of like me running in the deserts in a mirage, trying to catch something that I can never catch. Because when I was reaching now I have 20 employees and I'm making $1 million US, because for me, making $1 million US of turnover was something that I really wanted to do. I was like, when I will have that, I will be happy. And when I was having that, I was already pursuing something else. So the main, when I was reading that, I was recognizing myself quite a lot. And I was like, when do you arrive in your life? When is the time where you will say like, I have arrived, I'm here, I'm happy, I'm now, it's good. Because I have the feeling that a lot of people are constantly chasing this, and they are running without understanding that this is the journey. This is
It's 100%. And I think also for all the entrepreneurs, especially, it's so important because they think, okay, when I'm break even, when I have 100 or a million profit, when I have whatever, I think at one point you just need to realize that happiness is a choice. You can choose to be happy and grateful for certain things and accept the challenges to move on. Now, talking also again about the creator economy, if you would start now your own profile online with all the experience you have with the influencers, creators you work with, what would you do to get followers, exponential maybe grow?
So it's a good question, but somehow it's the prime of the new creators is like they come and they're like, I want followers. It's the same thing of starting a business and saying, I want to become billionaire. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
yes.
And basically it's the exact same problem. If you start and you are like, I want viewership and followers, I can assure you in 3 months, you are not producing content anymore. Because people don't understand one thing is like producing content for certain platform like YouTube, which you are on, is a commitment. Like, because if you want to be successful, you need to produce content every week almost. You need to do YouTube shorts, you need to have a team behind, you need to have an editor, or you do it yourself. But if you do it yourself, that's like, it's going to eat all your free time. And again, I want the immediate rewards. So you will not get it. And I can assure you that 3 months down the line, you're starting to produce less and less content because you don't get rewarded for your hard work. And 1 year down the line, you are out. Similarly to an entrepreneur. So what I will say to someone that want to create content is like, do it for the right reasons. Start because you want to share your journey, because you want to share a passion, because you actually love doing it, because that's something that doesn't feel like work. Me personally, my wife will love when she will hear that. When I work, I don't work. For me, even though sometimes my day of today, yesterday are, for the normal person, absolutely horrendous. I'm arriving at the office. I'm like, it's like, let's go. I'm super happy I'm here. And I'm often like at the end of the weekend, on Monday, I'm like, I cannot wait to be tomorrow because I know that I'm going to have this meeting. We're going to develop that, etc., etc. When what you do doesn't feel like work, success will be a component that will come down the line. Right. Maybe it's going to take 1 month, maybe it's going to take 1 year. But anyway, you are doing it with passion.
Yes.
And you will be doing it anyway, like this guy with the train.
Yeah, like, so basically, the learning here is really what you see, do it with passion. And do it also sustainable. That means do it really long term. Yeah. I think it's a long term commitment. That's when you do something. People also ask me with the podcast. I said, "How is it?" And I tell them the same thing. I said, "Look, it's a long term commitment." I just love those talks. Going deep dive. And I think entrepreneurs have such an interesting journey, almost. Like everyone in life, of course, but I think they also discover it a little bit different. What will you discover in the future? Let's talk a little bit also about the future of the secret society and all the different brands and companies you're building around. Again, you started from 0, now almost 100 employees, hundreds of thousand members. What will we see from you in the future? I read somewhere a quote, we want to open a new country now every 60 days.
Yes, it's true. So the thing is, like, secret society has a pathway that we are going to follow. We are going to open one country every 60 days, but actually we have a goal of having 100 countries within the next 5 years. So I truly believe that actually this tempo is going to accelerate. Right now, that's our current tempo, but I'm building an ecosystem right now to be able to open multiple countries simultaneously. The goal of secret society is pretty simple. We want that to be a passport. You are part of the creator economy. Mm-hmm. You have the secret society, similarly than Uber. You land in New York. You pull out the secret society, and you're like, where can I go? What can I do? You can go to a training. You can go to breath work. You can go to a nightclub. You can have an hotel room in a hotel. Mm-hmm. Everywhere you go. Obviously, we are not like Uber because we cannot operate in like openly to all the cities of the world, because we are trying to build a nice ecosystem in all the cities where where we are going. But right now we have identified 100 cities where we want to go. So the goal of secret society is to be pretty much global, because you can say that you're global when you're a little bit everywhere. But I want to be in like 20 cities in the US. I want to have like 30 cities in Asia.
So really strong footprint. What is your learning working with different cultures? I mean, you started on Dubai, but also now in Saudi Arabia, even in Bali. Mm-hmm. What is your experience about the different cultures? How much do you need to be adapting the local footprint that you offer in your services to have a good product market fit?
So it's definitely key. It's key. You need to do your pre-work. So we do what we call the Reiki trips, where basically you go there, you understand. So prior going anywhere, we understand if actually the culture is welcoming to what we are going to be doing. Because there is places where, example, France, complimentary, giving things for free it's kind of like something that people don't like doing. You know what I mean? Like, even though I will say I'm going to pay you with stories or whatever, they will say like, no, you pay me with money. You know what I mean? Like, you don't pay me with this social media thingy. The large groups in France will actually understand that because they're operating in all the rest of the world. But there is a lot of pre-work to be done prior opening. So that's point number one. The biggest challenges that we have, in my opinion, is, and I'm sure you can relate to that, Michael, is the people management. So I need to hire employees all over the world. And for us, the company culture is a big, big thing at Secret Society. And actually, to be very frank with you, in Abercrombie and in all American company, the company culture is a big, big thing.
Would you say that it's the biggest challenge? The company as a people management? People
make you or break you. Anyway, that's a simple thing. You can have a fantastic product, etc.
So how did you find the people who make you? Your A team around you, your C-level team. How did you find them?
So funny enough, I did what everyone told me that I shouldn't be doing. I took friends of mine.
Right.
So whenever I spoke to someone, they say like, do not work with your friends. Do not work with your wife.
Yeah.
My wife and my friends work with me. So, but obviously I picked my friends. Some of my friends are
and you picked your wife as well, I guess.
I picked my wife as well.
Good, yeah.
But honestly, without them, Secret Society will definitely not be where the Secret Society is at.
So you said that is your winning formula to say, look, I work with people who I have the same values with, who who know me already a bit inside out, so that.
I picked the right people and the people that I believe were fitting to my view of things, because I can be seen as a very 0 to 100 individual. So if for me it's like, if you work with us, it's kind of like it's a commitment. Your work-life balance is going to be shaken a little bit, you know what I mean? Like,
so you're all in.
Yeah, all in. Like, but I want the people as well around me to be all in. So maybe I'm a bit biased, obviously, because I'm the CEO of the company. But I believe that in the stage where they came in, you cannot treat that as a normal work. If you do it, you fail. But what I found was very interesting is like, I didn't get a lot of success rate on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. Because if you think about it, the prime of LinkedIn is populated with people that are looking for a job. But good people don't look for jobs. If tomorrow, obviously, Michael, let's say that you are not the CEO of a very successful company, but let's say you are an employee of your current companies. I can assure you, you will never land on LinkedIn. Never. Because there will be 3 or 4 other companies that will have their eyes on you. And if you look at the very, very best individuals and the top leaders of this world, they've never been employed looking for a job on LinkedIn. The people that land on LinkedIn are people that are potentially joining, arriving in a new area, don't know anyone, so that makes sense.
Right.
I'm here, guys, hire me. But the rest, they are people that have been either let go or people that left the company without something else, which is kind of a red flag somehow, you know what I mean? Because the situation that they were having in their current company was so bad that they need to actually leave. So I don't know whose responsibility is that. But basically you are fishing in a pond where you don't have a lot of good fish, if that makes sense. Obviously you can have people that are in position that are applying for what you are doing. But I have the feeling that fishing on LinkedIn is actually very, very dangerous. The best way to recruit, in my opinion, is to try to have a larger and larger and larger network. So going to an event where we went together in Banyan Forest. And if tomorrow I'm launching a product that has an inch of fintech inside, I say like, I'm looking for youngsters, where do you get them? And you will tell me, Roman, don't do that, do this, hire there.
I fully agree. I think the best hires we made is definitely within the network, and I can just underline it and recommend this as well. I think it's so powerful. Romain, thank you for telling us all about your journey. I think it's super exciting times ahead with the Secret Society. Thank you for a very interesting talk and so many hints. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before you go, a quick note to all the entrepreneurial listeners out there. If you're looking for a reliable and efficient way to scale your online business and payments, I highly recommend checking out Kloep.com. It's designed to streamline your processes from payment processing to customer management, all in one platform. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to scale up, Kloep provides the tools you need to succeed. Visit Kloep.com today and see how it can transform your business operations. Dive in and start optimizing your sales processes now.